Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Mary Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Kimberly Friedmutter. Kimberly and I are going to be talking on the topic, using your subconscious mind to create the life you always wanted. Now, I know that you think that maybe your life is not something that you create, but I agree absolutely that you can create anything you want, and it starts with the subconscious mind. In fact, one of my very first episodes on the Transform Your Mind was on the subconscious mind 7, 8 years ago. So I love the subconscious mind. So if you want to know how to work with your subconscious mind, then make sure you stick around. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hi.
All right. So let me set this up by giving you guys an intro to Kimberly. When Hollywood has a problem, Kimberly Friedmutter solves it. Kimberly is a CHT and hypnotherapist to the stars, Hollywood A-listers, politicians, CEOs, and titans of the industry as her clients. She connects them to their subconscious to get what they truly want out of life, leading them to health, wealth, and yes, even finding lost items and the best parking spaces. But Kimberly says living up to your dreams isn't reserved just for the exceptionally talented or lucky. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has the birthright to expect the exceptional and the amazing force to make it a reality, hidden deep below in the subconscious mind. Kimberly is the author of Subconscious Power. Use your inner mind to create the life you've always wanted. All right, so we're going to dive right in. I'm going to, pass up the how did you become a psychic, that kind of thing. We're going to just dive right in. How do you teach your clients to tap into the source within them for the creativity and courage to achieve positive, lasting change and live the marvelous life of their dreams? We're
Starting off shy and with tiny questions, I see. I appreciate being here. First of all, it's so nice to see you. And, I think that coming in handy just as an end user, doesn't everyone want to find lost items around their home or office and find good parking spaces? But to answer your broader question, it's really a matter of anyone, anywhere having the ability to understand their capacity for information. That's like the basis of everything I do. So it's less about the psychicness of me and more about the psychicness of the client or yourself. So, for example, intuition, gut instincts, all of those things, we all have it. We came into this planetary experience with it. It's nothing, that you can buy or find or necessarily be taught, rather be enhanced with. So anything like any talent that you might have or any ability at all, really physical or mental, it's about fine tuning that and really enhancing it for your own life. Because what I love about the subconscious is that many large corporations across the world use your subconscious for their benefit to purchase items. And so you might as well be using your subconscious for your benefit as well. They've decided legally that there's nothing wrong with using subliminal advertising and things like that. However, like even the latest, my most fun one, I keep a little Snickers bar in my desk drawer. And it's because on one side it says Snickers in their branding font. And if you flip it over, it says satisfies. But to the mind, the conscious mind, it looks like Snickers. But if you really read it, it says satisfies, which is called an embedded command. And so that's telling your subconscious when you walk past at the grocery store that, oh, that's going to satisfy me and I'm going to take it. And then, they also do a lot of other positive affirmations and things on the candy bar itself. But it's interesting, if you think about it. And isn't that something that you want to utilize to enhance your own life?
Yeah. I was, which book I was listening to? I was listening to a book recently. I read a lot of them.
Is it mine? Was it mine? Maybe.
I will get yours because, like I said, I work with the subconscious mind consciously. So
Yes.
no, but I was I absolutely think is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And basically, I'm pretty sure it's him actually. He was talking about listening to a commercial that was telling people about shingles. And he said they have this horrible, because I've seen those commercials and I'm thinking, I don't want to get shingles
I
because it looks
know.
so horrible. And he was talking
Because
about,
Singles doesn't care.
right,
That's
right. But he was talking about how they phrased that ad that said that if you have the smallpox, if you ever had smallpox, then you've got shingles in you, right? So he said that was the first part of subliminal message. And then they went on to say that, 1 in 3 or something has got it, is going to get it, and
Oh,
whatever. But he's talking about exactly what you're saying with the Snickers bar, that
yeah.
after you finish listening to this, you're going to be so scared of getting shingles, or if they're saying that you've got it in you and you see those horrible nasty rashes or whatever. But yes, commercials do use subliminal programming all the time. So
Yes, and a
yeah.
lot of upside downside advertising where this is the upside if you get it, and this is the downside if you don't. And the downside is like twice as long of the advertisement than the upside. And so, yes, I even did go out and get my shingles vaccine for that very reason. And I have like the strongest subconscious fortitude, but I kept thinking they run it so often, I better go get it, because just for that alone, I thought, it's just it's a very interesting,
I
good
got
for
that
him for
shingles vaccine too, and my sister's saying the same thing. I don't want to get shingles. So their message is very powerful.
Yes, it's working. So wouldn't you like to have that with your own inner fortitude?
I'm one of the few people that have never gotten chickenpox, so I don't know how that is, but most people have gotten chickenpox. All
Right.
right. So question was, so how do you teach your clients to find their subconscious in them and not necessarily from the external sources like the commercials and things like that? How do you teach them to tap into their subconscious power?
Well, first I have them read the book, which explains lots of that. And secondly, I am really making them aware initially of what it is, because we're double-minded. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And so some people just think of intuition and gut, and they don't really think that that is the primary working system in the brain as far as habits, things, continuity, memories, emotions, all the things that are the touchy-feely things that make us basically who we are. So it's the you inside of you that makes you different than myself, etc. Is that subconscious part of the mind, how we express ourselves, all of those things. And so when I explain it, that the subconscious is highly enacted when you're driving down a road and you kind of forget where you don't consciously know that you got there. You just, oh, I'm at my destination, right? In the last 5 miles eludes you. Or you're staring at a beautiful fire pit, at night, or a fireplace, and you see the flames dancing. You're kind of lost in the trance of it all.
Mhm.
Trance is a very important part of the human experience, in the sense that we go into trance many times a day. The biggest trance we go into, of course, is known as sleep, which I call incubation. And so when we incubate, we fall asleep. Imagine that here we are, ambulatory human beings, right? We're on the planet, we're walking upright, and then all of a sudden at a certain time of day / dusk, evening, we all just like fall over and lay horizontally and sleep. I mean, that's wild if you think we just all go into trance at that, particular time at night, and then the sun comes up and up we, like water on a plant, right? All of a sudden we're erect again. And it's amazing, because when you look at science that way, you say, wow, what else is the subconscious responsible for? So when you're sleeping, all of that sleep team comes in. If you imagine like handymen coming into your house to do home repair at night while you're sleeping, that's what your subconscious is organizing while you're sleeping. So it's really fascinating. Cellular repair and all of the things that can't happen while you're in the waking state, which is why sleep is so important. So why wouldn't we want to do that purposefully when we want to, for healing, or for reaching into and tapping into different channels that are running past us during the day? If you're in the creative space at all, and if you've spent time enjoying films or television shows or plays, it's interesting, because that information came to the director or the producer of that particular show. at the time that that came, because I've been in the industry many years and now working with people within the industry, many of those seeds are planted at the same time as that producer or that director picked up on that idea or had that aha moment or had that epiphany, or it came up to consciousness risen from below. It's interesting because you start to see themes, and you start to see, even like if you watch Netflix or something now, you'll see the themes are kind of the same in the shows, right? There's
Mhm.
running energy throughout the planet that we tap into. And that is those, beautiful aha moments or the epiphanies, or I think I'm going to call Sue, and all of a sudden Sue's calling you. It's all of that information that we don't have direct access to. Case in point, when a client first comes, I hand them a series of envelopes that are sealed, like legal size envelopes, and I ask them to choose one. So they choose the envelope. I have them hold it close to them and kind of just get still and quiet and connect with it. And then I have them take a pen and on the outside of the envelope, just start to doodle. Maybe they write words like the name of a color, or draw some, like a circle or some stars or whatever it is, doesn't matter. There's no small amount that they can do. There's not too much that they can do. Whatever they feel led to move about the envelope. Then we open up the envelope, and inside I have randomly chosen years ago, so I don't remember what's there, randomly chosen tear sheets that I have folded in such a way from magazines. So maybe it's a picture of a car, maybe it's a photograph of a tomato or a sun or something, a forest scene, whatever. And it's shockingly identical to what they've drawn on the outside of that envelope.
Wow.
Do not. It
Yes.
is so fascinating because the things that people will come up with, they'll rise to the surface when asked,
Oh.
are so identical. For example, I do this during speaking in engagements and whatnot. And during one of those, this woman came running up to me, because it's always similar, but not like exactly what the conscious mind would think. For example, she came running up and she said, "Oh my gosh, look at this." And she had written fruit. No, she wrote "me" on the outside of the envelope. And she showed me the image, and it was a slice of watermelon. And I said, "How does me relate to watermelon?" Her last name was Fruit.
Oh, you're kidding.
So you see, she didn't draw a watermelon, but she somehow felt led to write "me." I mean, that's fascinating. There was another gentleman who picked one out of, like, say 20 envelopes, 10 or 20. He took one and he drew like a very remedial drawing of a dog's face with like ears and a tongue sticking out and all this. And he says, "I know why I did this, because my wife agreed to take care of someone's dog. And we live in the city." This was in New York. "We live in the city, and I'm frustrated about how that's going to go." I said, "Well, let's see," because I really didn't think it was going to work out, honestly. So we pull out the tear sheet, and it's a dog food ad.
Wow.
So he
So,
even chose out of
right.
20 envelopes or so, he even chose a dog related thing because it was so on his mind. Do you see how it works? So we're really tapped into something that we don't have immediate access to those impressions. And so it's things like that people go, "Wow, okay, I get it. Now I'm ready to listen."
Well, that is interesting. So, what you're saying is that the subconscious connected with what's in the envelope so that we are psychic and clairvoyant ourselves and we're not sure. What is the connection to that? Explain.
Well, so to be clear, hypnosis and hypnotherapy and all of that has to do with how in touch you are with your own intuition and gut, as opposed to, like, I think in 2024, I'm going to win the lottery, right? It's not like that. I mean, maybe it is like that. That's not what I do. It may be like that for many people, but I don't work on the psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, all of those kinds of things, although I'm fascinated and have plenty of clients that do. But mine is really about your subconscious, how it benefits you. So it's mostly science. Of course, I have the art of it, which is what leads me to this point in my career. But the science of it is just really rock solid. I mean, it's not even a debatable topic or issue anymore, how the subconscious interplays with our daily life. The whole idea that you have this magnificent machine within you. I mean, literally, if I said to you, oh my gosh, I'm going to be over in 5 minutes, and I'm going to deliver you the latest, greatest, most, optimized machine on your, I'm going to put it on your desk, and all you have to do is just plug it in. You'd say, bring it. And you would feel like the luckiest person on planet Earth. Well, you have it. It's already inside of
Yeah,
you. It's like
yeah,
the ultimate yellow brick road. You have it. It's yours.
yeah. Well, I started off our conversation by saying that I've always been impressed with the subconscious mind, and I work with it. I was working with it up to a couple of days ago, because one of the people that I don't follow her a lot now, but in the past, she talked about bringing in contrast, which means that if there's anything that you want in life,
Mhm.
you bring it into your subconscious mind, so your subconscious mind can bring it to you, which is basically the question I have here for you. How do we send information to our subconscious minds, and why do we want to do that? So let's bridge on that, because that's how I use it.
Right. So the conscious mind gets in the way. It's your daytime practical planner. I need to be at the soccer field at 3, need to pick up Johnny at 4, that kind of thing. So the subconscious mind is handling everything else practically. So if you think of like the conscious mind is your assistant, and then the subconscious mind is the real doer. The subconscious mind is really it doesn't need to literally be trained. It's a matter of listening to it and paying attention to it. So if you took a week and you really just every little intuitive hit that you got, like, did I, close the garage door? Did I do this? If you managed every little intuitive hit that you got and you actually acted on those, it would be fascinating the week you would have. And I challenge viewers or listeners to do that, because if there's ever a doubt in your mind about that part of the mind, that's that. It literally is the inner stenographer for your life. So, for example, if you, and in the book, I liken it to being an 8-year-old, like the 8-year-old inside of you, that little part of you that is not PC enough yet to worry about others, extremely selfish, records everything, thinks everything is about her or him, protects you, has survival at its utmost prime directive. The number one thing is survival. The amount of delegation that the subconscious has, and again, even going back to when you sleep, fixing and repairing the human body, is fascinating. So it's about honoring those impulsive moments and information that come to you. The thing I was speaking about before with the envelopes, that's actually a real thing called remote viewing, which is even now an expert. The government uses it, different, factions use it, because they can literally, some people on the planet can be given coordinates and can tell you what's in those coordinates. Like, I give you an envelope, and that person, that remote viewer, can say what that is there, because we feel, and it's really like an epidemic in my mind of us, is that we feel like we are limited to what's in front of us. Seeing is believing. Actually, believing is seeing. It's the other way around. Once you believe more in what you can't see, what you will see then will be that. It's fascinating. Someone mentioned the other day to me, and it really resonated. They said our forefathers didn't say believe in it. Our forefathers actually said, and I have yet to check this out, but it's just been like bouncing around in my thought processes, and it's really done me great service over the last 2 days. The forefathers said, believe it in.
I'm sorry, repeat.
They said, believe it in.
Okay.
Instead
All
of
right.
believe in it, believe it in.
And got you.
Now,
All
that's
right.
a whole
Yes.
different thing.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Believing in it is giving of yourself into something, but
Yeah.
believe it in
Yeah. That's
is
nice.
an actionable thing.
Mhm.
I love that. So I'm going to check it out and make sure that it was repeated correctly to me. But that makes more sense. So you see, once you honor that part of you and you're understanding how it plays in your life, look, none of us need one more thing to do. I even said with Simon and Schuster as my publishing partner, I'm not looking to give busy moms, get busy people one more thing to do. This book needs to relieve 1,000 things that they were doing that they now can delegate off to the subconscious. Because, the saying, oh, I've got you, girl, I've got you, I've got this. Your subconscious has it. I mean, it really does have you. It really does got this, right? And so if you will delegate to it, then you can fully understand and feel and actually manage what's happening in your life much easier. It's like literally like your digital assistant. It's taking care of all of these things that you just couldn't possibly do. And the first step in that is awareness. There's all kinds of things you can look at in your life. Like, do you tend to move to a new town because you're moving toward that new town for something? Or do you tend to move to a new town because you're moving away from something before? So even your juxtaposition in the world, where are you? How do you move? What are your habits? All of those things. Of course, for addiction, it's incredibly useful. Habit forming. So back to your question, a client will come and I'll put them under, which is really just sing-songy state of relaxation. So, feel the warm golden light coming in through the top of your head. You might imagine the little follicles on your head tingling. Doesn't that feel so good as the warm ray of golden light starts to move through the back of your sinuses and in through the jaw? Work your way down the body. Everybody's feeling all good. Heart rate slows down. All of a sudden, the jaw relaxes, the breathing changes, all of that. Then I know that they're in the state of trance that I prefer to work in. And at that point, then the subconscious is risen. The conscious is suppressed, the subconscious is risen, and the information that I'm getting ready to download is ready and resolute. So that becomes more commandy, like the embedded commands, you have shingles. It's like cancel, which is another big part of the book. How to block things that you don't want to hear. Thumbs go in, arms get cross your legs. You're physically blocking the information. You can also say cancel. I'm segueing a little bit, but you can say cancel when you run across a commercial like that, or anything meaning not for you, not for you, not for you. Some people say delete. I like just cancel. Same thing if you're hearing like a terrible story. Aunt Joan comes over and she says, oh my gosh, you can't believe what happened to me today. And then you can immediately say, oh, I'd love to hear that. And then just as she's talking, just with thought language, cancel. Because the last thing you want to do is start bouncing off of that energy. You know how one person can come into a room and change the shift the energy of everyone? That's that. So just pleasantly beautiful, cancel with thought language. You don't need to make Aunt Joan feel bad about her story. We all want to hear her story, but it's not for you. And so it's not to be taken seriously by your subconscious, not to be digitalized or stenographed in that way for you.
So to answer the question, you help your clients to download the information to their subconscious. You're not doing like I would do, where you're sending things to your subconscious because you're telling it, like I was talking about contrast. Contrast is something you see in the world that you want, that you don't have right now. So you tell your subconscious mind, or you intentionally tell your subconscious mind that it's something that you want it to work towards. So you're doing it for your clients and they're not doing it themselves. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, no, they all practice self-hypnosis. That's absolutely right. And what you're doing is you're actually clearing space for that thing to happen. I'd like to explain what you're doing. You're actually believing it in. That's what you're doing. You're doing that very thing, right? So you're believing it in, clearing
Okay.
space. The other day, we had an appointment that was supposed to be, how when contractors come, they say, oh, we'll be there between 12 and 4. So this was what this was. And I have a lot of projects going on and we're very busy in the house and home office. And so I wanted the person to come at like 11:30 because I needed, like, for the very latest that they were going to be there, to be 12. So I know that that's impossible with the contractor to get them there. You can't call them and ask them, and they can't necessarily call before, and all these restrictions, right? So I said to the ladies in the house, I said, listen, here's what we're going to do. We are going to get ready so that we are ready for the contractor at 11:30. We have everything ready to go. We have, the dog gate put away. We have like every single thing, like the person's walking in at 11:30, because we're literally willing them here at that point. 12 o'clock, they show up.
Mhm.
It was so beautiful because we all just went, yay. I mean,
Yeah.
we were so happy because we all did what we did as if it was
Yes.
happening, and it
Yes.
happened. Now, will
Yes.
it maybe work every, 100% of the time? I don't know, but it works. And
Believe in that. I do
yeah, and
believe
I
that.
know enough about it, and we all collectively knew enough about it, and we just know that it works. I don't care about the dynamics of exactly how or
Yeah.
whatever. I just want to know that it works. You're leaving space and making space. Literally, like thinking of someone, there's I don't know how religious you are or aren't, but there's, the very strong doctrine in most religions that if you pray for those that oppress you, or you pray for those that you don't feel the greatest about, right, good blessings come your way. And so it's very similar to that, is that if you think about a rift that maybe you had with a coworker or a family member, and you really put good, generous, beautiful thoughts into that person, typically you'll hear from them back in that way. It's again about mirroring energy. It's about believing it in. I just love that.
Yeah.
So
That is
hypnosis and
great. It's going
self-hypnosis
to be our
also.
tagline,
I
huh?
know. And also, just so you know, in the book, it is all about how to hypnotize yourself. It's not about me or my practice. It's example after example of self-hypnosis and all the hacks of how to do that. So it was very important that people had this information to go on and be magnificent them without me.
Right. Very good resource. That's awesome. Well, that's what a book does. It guides you through. All right. So that's great. I love that. All
Thank you.
right. So you have some super effective subconscious raising exercises to help us reduce our stress, to improve our sleep, to overcome addiction, get fit, and achieve career goals. That's a big bundle.
How much time do we have?
I think we've covered everything there. So, what are some subconscious raising exercises that we can do?
So one of my favorites, and the easiest to do anywhere, anytime. This is like just a great go-to for all of the things you mentioned. If it was paint, it'd be white paint because it's just applicable everywhere and always a good idea. So
Right.
if you focus, and I'll do it with you, and you do it with me. If you
Mhm.
focus on a spot in front of you, so just find a spot on the wall or whatever, and stare at that spot. And while you're staring at that spot, allow your focus to diffuse. So now you're going to see out here. Like if you put your hands up, like I'm doing, you would even be able to see your fingers moving, right? You can pull them
Right.
back to as far as you can see them moving. Wiggling them helps you a little bit, be able to catch them in your periphery, right? So now we're in peripheral vision. We're still focused on the spot, but
Mhm.
we've diffused that focus out. When you
Okay.
do that and you put your tongue up at the roof of your mouth, okay, so normally the tongue sits on the lower palate, but if you raise that tongue and put it at the roof of your mouth,
Mhm.
you now are going to be in a relaxed state. The reason we use this is when we're not in a relaxed state. So I'd like for you, now that you've practiced it, I want you to think of something that gets you riled up. Normally, I don't like to incite that emotion, but let's do it. Okay, I'm going to think of something that riles me up. Let me think for a second. Uh, okay. So I want you to think of something that riles you up, and I want you to get irritated, and I want you to think about it like, oh, it's really frustrating me. It makes me so mad. And then I want you, or angry or disappointed or whatever. Now I want you to look at the spot, engage your periphery, like I'm doing. Yep. And now I want you to feel that emotion go away. Oh my gosh, mine just released.
Me too.
Girl,
Yes. Yeah.
girl. Okay,
I
so
really feel that.
right?
Even though I didn't get really, really angry, but I still feel enough of the irritation.
Oh yeah.
I actually did feel that release. Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
I have
Yes.
goosebumps. It's amazing. You feel it. It's like a tight, 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 tight cord, and then all of a sudden it snaps and it's gone. Because you
Yeah.
can't think two things
I
at
felt the
once.
flow. Right.
Yes. Yes. All of a sudden you felt like you again, right? That's the beauty of that. So that's just a peripheral eye exercise. Imagine. So it's also considered the learning state, the training state, because it literally cranks open the subconscious mind and allows information. So, for example, if people listening have children in school, or if anyone listening is in school or watching, when you're taking in large amounts of information, you need to be in the same state that you are when you need to regurgitate that information. So perhaps in testing or something. So let's say that you're studying, you want to be in that periphery. You can read in it. You can, and that's actually what speed reading is taking in the whole page and just following down the middle, right? You can drive in it. You can write in it. You can do anything in it. So you can test in it. So if you're receiving the information in periphery, you can test in periphery. So you go through just like many testing, teachers and tutors teach you, as you go through and you answer all the things that you know, like this, right? And then you go back and you start to answer what would be considered the stumpers. Go into peripheral vision and it'll come through that portal of the subconscious easier, because that inner stenographer, she's just busy, or he's just busy in there, just taking all this information. So if you had access to that information, and then of course we see even with my envelope exercise that even if you don't have access to that information, you can still know the answers.
I like that. I like that. That is
Isn't that neat?
powerful. And of course, you give more of those type of exercises in your books that we
Oh my
can.
gosh, it's filled with them. The whole book, Subconscious Power, use your inner mind to create the life you've always wanted. That's the whole thing, right? It's your
Right.
subconscious mind creating the life that you've always wanted. It's a matter of recognizing that it's there, grabbing the book. You can listen to it on Audible. It's available in bookstores nationwide, on Amazon. It's everywhere. So like really get to know your own mind. It's the best resource you'll ever have. And you're welcome.
Wow. Yes, that's awesome. Listen, I agree with you totally. That if you want to create the life that you've always wanted, you've got to work with your subconscious. There's no other way to do it than
It's
obviously
best
working with
you
your
there
subconscious.
is.
Yes. And so it's great that you're giving, that you wrote the book number one, and you're giving us some of the hacks in order to, because everybody knows it's there, but nobody really uses it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's amazing. Now, in addition to the book, it looks like you've got a self-improvement program, and you talk about 6 core principles, including come into accountability, judge thyself and thy neighbor, and give to get. Do you want to talk about those for a minute?
Yes. So I'm here to bring judgment back. And I mean that in the most loving way. What's happened with our being so afraid to use contrast and being so afraid of comparisons and being so, the only way that we know who we are is through who each other is, you know?
Right.
I know my hair, like the first thing you mentioned is, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Your hair is as long as mine is short. See, that was your way of contrast, right? Living in the moment. That's exactly what went down, right? So you utilize contrast to see that mine was long and yours was short. It's a beautiful thing. It's not meant to affect in a negative way. What it's meant to our subconscious mind is, are you a fit for me now? In the short term, the midterm, or the long term, or perhaps never term. There's that too. You meet some people and the vibe just isn't there, and you just think so nice to meet you, and you move on. And there's that saying that people come into your life for a reason, a season, a
That,
lifetime, all
that
these
all the
things.
time.
We're inundated with all of it, right? And that's so that we don't feel bad if it's not a good fit. Here's the news. I'm here to break the news, is that there is ecology for you in relationships, in love ships, in family ships, in all of the ships. Okay, there's a related ability for someone to either be good for you now in the short term, the midterm, or the long term. I go through this in the book because we get all itchy when we talk about, I recycle my closet for spring and winter. Do you do that? Or spring and fall, so that it's ready now for summer and all that? Friendships sometimes need that. Relationships sometimes need an upgrade. They do. I mean, it's nothing bad, but you have to check your own ecology for who's in your life and how they impact you. So that's the judge thy neighbor as thyself. Very important part. The give to get. We've gotten very coy and very shy about our needs and our wants and our desires. The interesting thing about the mind is that you're always going to want for something. We've kind of made wanting a bad word. Either Jane wants too much, or Bob wants too little, and maybe Jane is married to Bob and she wants more and he wants less, the dynamic. And so the mind is always going to want for something. It's important that those wants are aligned when you're coupling. That's interesting, right? Jane maybe wants more time away from the house and wants to travel, and Bob wants to stay home on the lazy boy, or what. I'm completely clicheing it, you understand. But
Yeah.
the point, yeah, the point being, just to drive the point home, is that when our wants are there, we get very coy about asking for what that is. And it's actually not truthful to hide what you want or to not feel deserving of what you want. And I'm not
Mhm.
even going to say should have, or, worked for or earned. I'm not even going to put any of that emotional implication on it. I'm just going to say, what do you want? I mean, for
Right.
many, many, many years, I was just so afraid to say it. I come from the South, you're supposed to just stay kind of quiet about your ambitions and things. And then until I started asking for things, was I getting those things that I wanted? Or, I know so many people, and so many people willing to be helpful, and maybe they know someone who needs what I have, et cetera, and vice versa. And to be coy about it. So that give to get means I'm going to give you, we're going to be in an exchange, because nature works on exchanges.
Right.
Nature works that if the rain falls, the plant grows. Nature works that if the skies are cloudy, you don't see the stars. When they're clear, you do. There's this back and forth energetic system that happens in nature. It's natural. That means that you and I engage right now into a natural symbiosis. I provide content, you provide audience. It's
Right.
beautiful. And I love you for it. But I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and be silly and say, oh, you know what, my book? Oh, you want to hear about my book? I'm not going to act shocked and amazed. This is the energetic exchange we have agreed to do.
Exactly. I absolutely
Oh,
agree.
it's making me like flush right now, because look how it goes against my, Southern girl. Oh, I have this book. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if you want to read it. Yes, read it. It's going to save you. So you see, so because we're in this, and
I got
business understands this, and men understand this, and a lot of times women, and I know some men and some women, but sometimes we get caught in that girl thing where we just don't want to say it.
yeah, yeah. You know
So
what?
I'm here to dispel the myth. Ask for what you want and you'll get it. It's a beautiful thing. And the subconscious, it's the truth of who you are. It's what you really desire. And then, again, when you get that, you're going to want something else. It's part of our evolution. It's how we keep moving forward. It's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty 4-letter word, WANT.
My very next by the time this airs, it will already be live. But I just recorded my 5 minute with Coach Myrna segment yesterday, and the topic is acts, and you will receive. You have to.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yes. Believe it
Yes,
in.
you gotta ask to get, gift to get, same things. So yes, whatever you want, you gotta ask for it.
That's
All right.
right.
So what
We're not all psychic.
about exactly, exactly. And you're right. A lot of women don't want to ask. They want to give, they want to, so it's good that we're on the same kind of theme, but just a little different. So what
Oh, yeah.
about that come into accountability part?
So the coming into accountability is okay. So you probably have GPS on your phone.
Right.
So you cannot know where you're going if the GPS doesn't know where you are. And so just like with accountability, we just say where we are. Again, it's not this big bad thing. I mean, you may know nothing about any of this. You may know nothing about the subconscious. That's okay. You might have been, and not to put this on you because I'll say cancel, is
Right.
that someone might have been like a creep their whole life, and they're just tired of being a creep. They want to be good, and they want to be amazing, and they want to have friends, and they want to change things. It's okay. You're going from creep to amazing. It doesn't matter where that is. It's really being accountable, really being, because this is a journey for you. This is an internal journey. One of the things I want to make clear is that it's not a journaling thing. It's you don't need paper and pen. That was one of the things I said. I want it kind of in and out. I want it fast. I want to attune to what people already know about themselves. So you read it and you're like, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. It's more like a Bible for issues and situations and addictions and things and emotions and all this kind of thing. Friends or family, doesn't matter. It's not a male, female. There's not an age to it. If I shared with you, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'll skip it, but if I shared all the best lists that it made, you would laugh, because it was the best. Like, just as an example, this shows you how wide stream this kind of information is, because if you have a brain, you're in the game. Like, you're
Yeah,
a qualified reader if you
yeah,
have a brain,
yeah.
right? And so it made the list for the best books on feminism and the best books not on feminism. fathers and women and men. I mean, the opposite, the polar opposites of the list that it made was so funny. I just read it. You know, they give you a compilation at the at the end of each month, and I'm looking at it and I'm just laughing. I'm like, you go, book, because basically it just means if you're a human being, you need this book. I like it.
Also grabs a lot of attention because when you're telling someone to use subconscious power to create the life they've always wanted, that's actually the tagline for my show.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
That we can design our lives. And a lot of people don't think that they can design their lives. A lot of people think that life just happens to them. So we're saying exactly the same thing. You're just telling them how to go about it. You know, I'm talking about thoughts. You're talking about the subconscious mind, which connects. Because
Yeah.
in order to get into the subconscious, your thoughts are the one that's going there. So your thoughts, your mind, and everything, whether it's subconscious, conscious, yeah, it's if you want to create the life you always wanted, right. It's not about winning the lottery. It's about doing the work.
No. Right. And let me tell you, like in life, I mean, I've been on the planet a bit, and let me just say that I have had to ask for every single thing I have ever received. I don't know how charmed other people are or not, but I got to tell you, I have had to ask, sometimes, you know, scratch and claw. I have had to like really, like when I think about it, I've literally had to really ask in some form,
Yes.
even if it's in a resume. I mean, sometimes even beg, literally, not too proud to admit it. Every single thing I've ever gotten, and we call that earning, we call that deserving, we call that working, we call that all those things. But the truth is, you just have to ask for it. You know, there's this myth that things just happen to certain people, and it absolutely is not the truth. You ask those people. I mean, look, on the back of my book, I have Jennifer Hudson, Martha Stewart, Mike Tyson, a bunch of really powerful, important people, and they've had to work for what they've gotten. I mean, scratch and claw, let me tell you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
nothing, even the most beautiful, special, empowered people on the planet are still asking, begging and clawing, because that's how you
Yes.
where you
Yes.
want to
Yes.
go,
Yes.
or how you get anything you want.
You definitely got to do that. Yeah. So awesome. All right. So we come to the point now where we talk about your book. We've talked about it quite a bit, but why did you write it? And what do you want people to walk away with after reading? We know that you're teaching them how to use your inner subconscious mind to create the life you wanted. So, yeah. So, what was the purpose of writing it? And after they've put it down, what do you want them to walk away with?
So the purpose for writing it was because I had felt like I discovered the silver bullet. I felt like I discovered the thing that could bridge health and fitness to emotions, to mental wellness, all of those things. And you already had it. Right. So I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm really onto something. I know there's been a lot of studies and a lot of books about this kind of thing, but the way I was able to masticate, digest, and then regurgitate the information was special. And I knew that because it was fast, it was painless. Might be able to hear my dogs howling in the background. They're the call of the wild over there. But anyway, I was able to really boil down the basics to make it super, super easy to take in and digest, and then to utilize, because I do call self-help books shelf-help books a lot, because, you know, you buy them, you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then you stick it on the shelf. But in reality, to really flip through it and look, and that's all it requires. And then it's in, because what's neat, you know, how there's all of the folks that specialize in body movements and body communication. And, you know, they'll observe someone on a news clip and they go guilty because that's the way they're doing it and all this. The subconscious is always trying to give you away. So if I'm sitting here and I'm twirling my hair, or if I'm self-soothing and I'm saying, oh yes, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Someone would peg that as this, right? What happens is daily and moment to moment, our subconscious wants us to be telling the truth. It wants us exposed so that we can heal and be good, right? And be fine. And that's why all of these little things happen. If I'm always exposing my neck, I don't know if you know this one, but like if there was a man right here next to me, which there is not, there's just a water bottle. But if there was a man, And I started exposing my neck and I'd say, oh, I know what you mean. I get it.
Curling
Oh,
your hair. All
you know,
right.
and exposing
You're
my
sending
neck.
a subconscious signal to him. Yes.
Right. Or if I started doing this and, you know, all that, it would be a very different interview, right? What is she
Yes.
doing? Who's standing right there? That's what I mean. So your subconscious is always exposing you in a good way to the world and to each other, because we're pack driven. We're primal beings that are pack driven and we need each other. And so the clearest form of communication is our movement, our actions. You know, they always say walk the walk and don't talk the talk, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So
Body
our
language is what you're talking about. Yes. Yes.
yes, yes. And so how we act with each other tells our story. And so this solidifies what is your story and what are you telling? And really to get it straight here, being very clear on judgment, being very clear on what you want and how to get it, being very clear on, are you moving toward or away? What is your position in life? Are you always running from something to the next thing? You'll never find you're happy there. Or are you strategically moving toward that thing that you want? That's a
Right.
big part of it. Getting out of drought. I love that chapter because sometimes we're in drought and be like, I'm so thirsty. Emotionally, right? And I can't help myself, right? And your girlfriends, and you look at them and you're like, you are thirsty. This is a thirsty behavior from a thirsty girl, right? Or guy, whatever. But the point I'm making is that when you're in drought and you might not know it, and all your friends know it, and you gather around and you try to give her water, and she's like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. No, not fine. We're here to rehabilitate and give you the nutrients and the sustenance you need in the form of our friendship to give you or to get you out of drought. There's a whole chapter about that because a lot of times, you know, you're in this delusion that you're fine when you're not fine. And so
Right.
that's a good one. The last chapter, which I love so much, is life is a loop, not a line. And there's a very good story in there about Mike Tyson and my experience with he and Muhammad Ali and Muhammad's wife, Lonnie. And so it's just filled with the best examples and the best stories and the best way to literally rise up. So back to your question about why I wrote it, that's exactly why, because I didn't want another self-help book. I didn't, in no disrespect to other books, but I had discovered the silver bullet and I wanted to share it. It was imperative. It was like in me, it had to emerge out.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean because we all go out and buy these books, and you know they say a lot of times you're not even supposed to read it; you're supposed to study it. I'm
Amen.
listening. I'm listening to a book right now that I've probably read it twice before, and it came up again, subconscious programming. It came up on my YouTube feed, and I was in a space that I thought that this information is what I need right now. So I went and I got the Audible, and I'm listening to it. It's like I've never heard it before because right now the space that I'm in, that information, like you know, they say the when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and
Yes.
it's I'm studying it now. But you
Yes. Yes.
sometimes you read stuff and you get like 5% of what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, you created the space for it. Martha Stewart, to your point, wrote, Kimberly and I share the same philosophy, often the teacher, always the student, right? So that's in, I know it's a little different, but that reminded me of her
Yeah,
quote.
that's
Yeah, very, very powerful stuff. What more? You'd like to hear more? Hey, Jennifer Hudson said, Kimberly inspires women to be better versions of themselves. And Mike Tyson, for anyone who needs to ignite the champion within, I urge you to read Kimberly's words of wisdom. And then
oh
there's
my
many
goodness.
more. I know, but see, this is, and these are
That's
from
some really,
real
really good
powerful
testimonials. That's
people.
beautiful.
Thank you. And the thing is that people, and I love working with folks of excellence because they're really listeners and they really seek out information. That's what's neat about high performing
Yes,
people in general, is that
yes.
they know how to delegate, they know how to ask for what they want, they know how to get what they want. They're used to that rhythm, right, of the teacher and the student. It's a beautiful thing.
I absolutely love it. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, yes, I would love to be in the space where I'm communing with high achievers and a lot of people because they think differently. You know what I mean? Again, from the subconscious, they're not waiting around for anybody to give them anything. They know they have to go get it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
I
you are
absolutely
communing
love
with
that.
a high achiever right now. We are communing. Your wish is true. It's happening right now.
Was thinking about that is they said that if you've got 5 friends or something, then you are a quarter of them. And I don't got 5 friends that are high achievers. So that's what I was thinking of. But you know
Yeah.
what? You're right. I speak on this show to high achievers all the time. Every single person that I speak to
Yeah.
is
So
a
you're
high
already
achiever.
bringing
So
them in.
I
Yeah.
guess I'm surrounding myself with them, not
Yes.
in
They're
a
coming
personal
to
space.
you. Look
Yeah,
at that. I mean, seriously, if you think about the dynamic of what you said versus what, and I know what you mean is in your personal life and sitting around your coffee table at home and all that, I understand. But if you think about how you spend your day, I mean, think about this. This is fascinating, is that that's exactly what you have. You have that.
good. Good.
Yeah. I mean, you probably spend more time with us than you do with, maybe at home, like in just in numbers of people, how many hours, a day you film. So
That's
like, yeah, you're there.
all right.
Now you have to
That's
invite us
good
over.
That's good encouragement.
Tonight,
Yes,
what are you making?
I'm definitely
What's
in
for
life
dinner?
school here. You know what I mean? So wow, Kimberly, this was an excellent conversation. I love, like I started off talking about, I love the subconscious mind. So yeah, and I will definitely go and get your book on Audible, because what I do, that's how I use books now, because I retain so much more, which is why I never remembered the twice that I read this other book before. But now that I'm listening to it when I'm walking in a park or whatever, I am actually digesting it a whole lot better. So I
Yeah.
will definitely get your book on Audible and listen to it, and try to work again with my subconscious mind, because like I said, it is something that I know. And they teach you some meditations that if you were to think about something before you go to bed or before you fall asleep, then you are going to send that stuff to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is going to go find. Listen, the subconscious mind is yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that that is one of the exercises is to just jot down next to your bedside. We might as well just clarify, just to jot down next to your bedside any questions that you have or anything that you're pondering or anything you need answers to, because one of the features of your subconscious mind with the inner 8-year-old in there is your stenographer, is she's a problem solver. And so you'll wake up the next day with this epiphany, or sometimes just even in your sleep, you'll solve the issue. So you'll think, I mean, it's the best way to utilize those 8-9 hours. It's like magic. It's unbelievable. I'm excited to hear how it works for you.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah. So listen, guys. Well, listen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life. This is what we're talking about. This is transforming your subconscious mind, and it definitely will transform your life. Go out and get Kimberly's book. I'm pretty sure you can pick it up on Amazon. So tell our listeners now how they can connect with you. You've got some, courses. Talk to us about your website, your social media handles, and then of course I will have all this on the show page. Go ahead.
Oh, super. Yeah. So subconscious power, excuse me, use your inner mind to create the life you've wanted, always wanted, is available at all bookstore retailers. It's available online. It's available, of course, on Amazon and Audible and paperback and hardcover, any choice, any way you want to receive the information. KimberlyFriedmutter.com, and it's KIMBERLY, Friedmutter, FRIEDMUTTER.com. And that's the website, which everything's on there, including ordering the book through any of those retailers. And also my Instagram, if you want to say hello, because I love to see you and follow you back, is Kim Friedmutter. So it's at Kim Friedmutter, also for Twitter. So easy to find. If you just Google my name, it all comes up. But thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy it in good health. Listen to it and enjoy it in good health. I can't wait to hear a report from you and how your
I will
life is
send
transformed.
after I've worked on some of those exercises.
Yes, please, please.
Awesome. All right, Kimberly. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. It's an absolutely excellent resource for anybody that definitely want to create the life they've always wanted. If you're in the space that you're not just going to accept what comes along, but you want to be the creator of your life or the designer of your life, then you definitely need to work with the subconscious mind. So run out and pick up a copy of Kimberly's book. I would have a transcript of my conversation with Kimberly on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us. And I also link out to her website and also to Instagram. And if you've got Facebook, are you in Facebook?
So the book has a Facebook page, Subconscious Power. Yes, it does. You can
I'll
just
definitely link out
Google
there.
it. Comes up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, right, I think we're fresh out of time. I think we've covered everything we needed to cover. Any last words, Kimberly, before we wrap up?
I think we're good. Just accept the exceptional, because that's who you are. And if it's not who you are right now, it's who you certainly will be. And just really make your life easier. It's my greatest pleasure.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Yes, that was part of your bio, right? Expect the exceptional. And also realize that you have the amazing force within you to make it happen. So we'll end with that. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for tuning in. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, we'd love for you to rate and review. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love for you to subscribe, because I bring you awesome guests every week, like Kimberly, so that you can transform your mind to transform your life. Until next time, namaste.